ensure law and order prevails in the country?
Well, continuously, we're having fluid situations about safety, public security in itself, and talking about public security. The 2021 Ghana Public Safety and Crime Report by the Bureau of Public Safety has apparently also revealed that violent crimes reported in the year 2021 increased by some whopping 40.8%. According to the Bureau, the reported associate deaths also increased by 53.7% over the figure for 2020. Now, per the report, spontaneous mob actions targeted at police stations, state facilities, and political party events, dominant players within the political party arena, dominant players within the sector dominated civil disturbances as well as events, constituting some 37.5% of all reported civil disturbances for the period. Look, we need to get more insight into this, try to ask some critical questions, and we already do have Nana Yao Akwada. He's Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. And thank you for joining us. I'm just going through your report, and it looks like we've continuously have had 3 years in a row the associated issues about increased violent crimes, murder, manslaughter, robbery, aggravating or increasing over the period. Should we be worried that these have direct implications on public safety and the safety of the ordinary Ghanaian?
Well, good evening to your viewers. I think absolutely in the face of the data that we have, there is every reason for us to be worried, especially when you look at the fact that year on year since 2017, with the exception of 2020, where we had a marginal decrease in violent crimes, all the remaining indicators that we've been looking at have all been on the upward trajectory. I think that it's no mean a data for any serious-minded state actor responsible for public safety and crime to go to bed.
How critical is it that the security apparatus of the state need to take some of these continuous observe reports seriously in terms of how perhaps it indicts their vulnerabilities, but also public confidence in the security agencies to take up actions?
Well, if I understand your question right, you are trying to find out how critical, how can we situate this data, in a scheme of affairs as far as public safety is concerned. I'll tell you that if you look at the highlights, I think point number 4, we realize a sharp increase in the use of firearms in the commission of violent crimes. And this is an increase for the 3rd year running. And if you compare that data that we have from 2020 over 2019 was 22%. And this year we are looking at a figure in the 50s. It's a matter of concern that we have firearm, increasing the use of firearms in the commission of crime has increased by over 57%. I think that from 22% to 57% is a matter that everybody should be worried about. And if you look at the fact that even when it comes to violent crime, where the top 3 violent crimes are murder, armed robbery, and aggravated assault. If you consider the fact that the associated deaths also have increased by about 54%, I don't think that on the face of the data or the figures we are talking about, anyone who has been tasked with the responsibility of keeping the public safe should sleep easy.
There's something uneasy about some pointers. For example, many of these violent crimes apparently happen outside homes or the accommodation areas or habitation areas of people. And we're talking about roads and highways, offices, business or trade places, and places of worship. It's where we're supposed to have God present, and then the police visibility and the military, etc., on the roads. Why is that, and how does that affect public confidence in the security agencies?
Well, if you ask why, I think that criminals have moved from what we used to know, coming into your home while you are there, harassing and picking your stuff. Now what they are doing is they take you by surprise while you are in transit. And we call those spaces that you just mentioned transitional spaces. And the level of awareness that the average Ghanaian assumes when he finds himself in a transitional space is very, very low, and criminals are appropriating it for their gain. So you find people, it's very common to find people walking by the roadside and using their phones. They could become targets for criminals on motorbikes and criminals in moving vehicles. You find people sitting in their cars and, tunneled in on their phones. And remember that when you are in your car outside of your home, that is a transitional space. And so we need people to be aware that criminals are appropriating, the dangers of transitional spaces for their gain. And then also we are seeing that kind of increase and that kind of shift from home to transitional spaces, because we used to have the police visibility program in 2013, introduced by, I think, Mohammed Al-Hassan, IGP Mohammed Al-Hassan. Back then, it was very vibrant. And I remember our report, our assessment of that program was one of the reports that, brought out a lot of confidence that people had in the police. Unfortunately, the visibility program has collapsed. It has fizzled out. And criminals have seen this gap and they are using it. We've had IGPs upon IGPs who have assured us they are deepening the visibility program, but it does not reflect on the ground. We do not see them as much as we used to see them between 2013 and 2015. Yeah. And so criminals are using it. We also have, in recent years, mounted closed circuit television cameras on our roads and our highways. Okay. We are yet to really see what contribution these are making to protecting our public spaces.
Well, thank you very much. We'll have to delve deeper when the news day actually begins also from Monday. But it's a report, compiled, comprehensive report as it is. You look at 3 and it says Ashanti region is the meta capital of the country, returning 23% of all homicide cases in Ghana in 2021. And Nanaya Kwada is Executive Director for the Bureau of Public Safety. For many other areas in Accra, you say that, well, perhaps we tend to witness a lot more violence, but it's also because we need to look at the social side, because many slums in the capital apparently have been cited as breeding grounds for social vices, including gang violence and the indiscriminate use of drugs, with unemployment being a major cause. In Nima, community leaders are seeking the help of security agencies in ensuring law and order in the area.
Like many Zango communities, Nima is stereotyped as radical, violent, and opposed to law.